This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. And as always, we appreciate you making Locked On Bets the first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Got plenty to get to today. College football, big one in the state of Texas. Baylor and SMU for a noon Eastern kickoff, 11 a.m. out in Texas. We'll talk about that coming up. Also, we have NFL today, too, because week one is right around the corner. The Cardinals and the Saints, we'll break that one down from the Superdome. Arizona, a road favorite in that one. Got baseball, got WNBA. Loaded show today, Lee. So with all that being said, let's begin with I'm going to wait. I'm just going to say it normally, and then you could do your thing. Today, just a hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
All right, Lee, you are on the clock now for your hidden gem and your rendition of it. The Blue Jays and the Reds scored a lot of runs last night. Toronto ended up outlasting Cincinnati, so they've split the first two games of that series. Game 3 coming up today in Cincinnati. And Bo Bichette, he's been a monster for the Blue Jays. What do you like with his prop today, Lee?
All right, battle of the hidden gems here. We're going to see who says it best. But I like my hidden gem a lot, and I know you do too. So might be both of us winning this one here. So Bo Bichette here hitting 455 off Zach Littell. The numbers on the surface look really good. Also, Littell giving up more home runs than any starting pitcher in Major League Baseball, not named Jake Irvin. So this is just a great situational play. You got a hitter red hot. Pitcher gives up the long ball, and Bichette, as we know, hits a lot of doubles, a lot of home runs, playing for one of the best teams in Major League Baseball. I'm hoping this one is over in his first or at latest second at bat here. We're going to go with Bo Bichette here right off the bat as my hidden gem.
It's a hard one to top. It really is. But I will say, though, Lee, looking back at last night, we got to recap these games. And we went 1-2, but it didn't look as bad as the 1-2 indicated. Now, number one, the winner was Max Fried on the under on his strikeouts with the Yankees. And the Yankees blew out the Astros, but Fried did finish under, which, we'll take that one. So you did get that one for our lone win.
Yeah, I love that one. We nailed it. Bingo.
And for the other two, I'll go with mine first. So I had the Rays against the Mariners, and the Tampa Bay Rays got 2 runs off Brian Wu in the first inning, and I figured, okay, all right, we got this thing. And then Seattle hit 3 home runs in the fourth inning, including Cal Raleigh. He went deep again for the Mariners. They had 3 solo homers. And, of course, what happened was Seattle led 3-2 through 5. And then what happens, Tampa Bay gets a couple runs in the 6th inning. You're kind of like, well, too little, too late. But kind of a tough one there just because Tampa Bay had that 2-0 lead, couldn't get any more runs. And then Rasmussen had a bad inning there, allowing 3 long balls.
I was like saying this could only happen to you, Kevin. I mean, we lead early, that those 2 innings right in between, right there, the 4th and 5th, and then we come back and take the lead. So maybe you can do first 3 innings if you want. You got to look closely. Not a lot of books take it, but you might have to throw in a first 3 inning eventually. You had it for the first 3 and the last 4, just not those 2 in between.
Yeah, just a tough break there, and we move on. And you had the A's last night against the Cardinals, and they were up 1-0, and St. Louis got 2 in the 6th or 7th to win it 2-1. So Severino pitched well. We know he doesn't pitch great at home, but on the road he's much better, and he pitched well enough. Just unfortunately, the A's offense couldn't get going. It's Miles Mikolas.
I know he's coming off, the injury list. Doesn't give up an earned run. Looked great. And must have been on a pitch count, because what happened? Teams take those pitchers out after 5 innings. Always the 5th, 6th inning, give up runs. They're not their best relievers, and boom, we lost. So we lost 2 really tough games. Usually those things even out in the long run. I expect us to bounce back. And like I said, I love my games today. I've got, we talked about Bo Bichette just a second ago, but I've got another game in Major League Baseball that I think is going to go flying over the total. To me, it's like the second July 4th here tonight. I just have a feeling we're going to see a lot of runs in quite a few of these games. And today and the rest of the week, I'm going to have a college and an NFL game. So get ready. We're going to be hopping here, and we're going to be going strong on football the rest of the week. At least a college and NFL game every single day.
Yeah, we have a couple games still to get to for tonight and also for the weekend. Want to get your thoughts on this, Lee, while we have the opportunity here in the middle of the week before NFL starts. Are you doing any survivor pools? Are you involved in any of those?
No, not my strength. So you got to go with I'm pretty good at second half totals, some in-game wagering, but just not my strength here. I've the last couple of years, I'm like, would I be good at this? I would have had a bad break. Not the first week, like a lot of people taking the Bengals, but I would have lost in the first 4 or 5 weeks. So thing about gambling, go with your strengths. Don't try to, I'm going to try to get better and maybe eventually I enter, but not my strength, not about the money. It's $1,000. You can enter up to 10 times, but love to take home that prize, but I'm going to stay in my lane.
Do you have, just over the years, do you have any advice for anybody that plays? I mean, anybody that wants to join one, even something like a small one with friends or something smaller online? Is there any advice you have?
You got to be really good at mapping it out. I mean, you got to be willing to take some chances early and also hope that some of these other people that are going to take some of the public games the first 3 weeks lose. And if you do, like last year, it knocks out a lot of people early. So, you got to do some work. I found out the first week in college football that some of my assumptions on teams were wrong. So I had to make some corrections, and I think I have. But there's also one of my college games that I think there's a total overreaction to what happened to both teams the first week.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you deal with all of it. That going into week 1, we have all these things we think about these teams, and then we're wrong. And then going into week 2, everyone thinks this team is great, this team stinks, and it turns out the team that stinks plays better. The team that's great doesn't play as well. So we'll see how everything turns out with college going into the second game, and now the NFL going into the first game coming up. And we will have a breakdown of Cardinals Saints coming up in just a bit. Also Baylor and SMU, and see if Baylor can bounce back from their loss to Auburn last week. So all of that is straight ahead. We're going to break it all down right here on Locked On Bets. We've been talking all week about FanDuel, and guess what? We're going to do it again today. The NFL season is almost here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And the NFL, what can you bet on? I don't know, everything. Week 1, Cowboys-Eagles Thursday night. Friday night in Brazil, the Chiefs and the Chargers. Loaded Sunday slate. Vikings, Bears to wrap it up Monday at Soldier Field. You have the games. You have the in-game wagering. You have the player props. Oh, if you want to also go long-term, you have MVP. Lamar Jackson of the Ravens is the favorite. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen among the favorites as well. You can also look at Rookie of the Year betting, Super Bowl, who's going to make it to the Super Bowl. You have all of those choices, and you can find them at one place at FanDuel. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. We continue here, Locked On Bets on a Wednesday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. Get to the football coming up with Baylor, SMU, and the Cardinals and the Saints for the weekend. But first, though, Lee, you went over your first hidden gem, so now it's my turn for a hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
Okay, I can't hold it as much as you, and you're more succinct with it, but still, I try. So anyway, our second hidden gem, we're going to go to the WNBA tonight, and two teams that are not going to the playoffs, but it's still a game, so it's on the board, so we got to talk about it. The Connecticut Sun and the Chicago Sky, they meet in the Windy City this evening, and the first quarter line on this one is -0.5 to the Sky, +0.5 for Connecticut. We're going to go with the Connecticut Sky, or the Connecticut Sun, rather, in the first quarter tonight. Now, in the first three matchups between these teams this season, Connecticut so far has held Chicago to 14, 18, and 13 points in each of those games. And also, Connecticut has won two of those three meetings. Now, Connecticut off a couple of blowout losses to Minnesota and Atlanta, the two teams that are leading their respective conferences. So that is definitely something now you're stepping down in class. And for Chicago, they just came off two road games, coming home for one, and then back on the road for three. So a tough scheduling spot for them. They're also, they've trailed in the first quarter 7 of the last 9 games, and one of those other times was a push. So they've led one time against Phoenix, which we had actually last week. But I'm going to go with the Connecticut Sun, the battle of the Sun and the Sky, Lee, and we're going to go with the Sun and let it shine bright and take them in the first quarter tonight against Chicago.
I just hope I don't get confused when I go to bet the game who to bet. So I had to write that down. So let's knock it down. Let's win both of our hidden gems.
That's why when you call the bookie, when you have LSU and Clemson, you say you take the Tigers.
Right.
And then you're all set. And then it's like, oh, I took the Tigers. You say, I took the Tigers. So anyway, we're going to take the Sun in that one against the Sky. So now let's transition back to Major League Baseball. The Phillies and the Brewers, they had kind of a wonky scheduling spot. They played Monday, we're off Tuesday, and then playing Wednesday and Thursday. So let's check out tonight's blowout special.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
Two teams, Lee, that could see each other in the playoffs, potentially. So we'll see if that is the case. Philadelphia rallied past Milwaukee on Monday in a high-scoring game at American Family Field. Off yesterday, back today. Lee, what do you like with the Phils and Brewers?
Yeah, I noticed that, and most people will not take a total, especially an over, when bullpens have the day off beforehand. But I don't think that's going to matter here. Both of these bullpens rank in the bottom half as far as ERA. Let's look at the starting pitchers. So this total stuck out at me. I mean, it started at 8.5, and I'm seeing 8.5s and 9s now. Jose Quintana, Milwaukee starter. Really concerning numbers here in this one. Been lucky all year. His expected ERA has been almost 1.5 points higher than his real ERA. I think he's going to start coming down to earth the rest of the season. Still has a 3.69 ERA, but his expected ERA is 5.21. That's huge. And he also gave up 8 runs in the last 9 innings, including 6 in his last start to a very mediocre, as far as hitting-wise, Arizona team. So then you got Aaron Nola. I mean, he's not much better. 7.53 total ERA in his last 14 1/3 innings pitched, coming back from injury, giving up 3 home runs as well as 5 walks during that time here. And I think they're going to move on from him next year, are the Phillies. And, going into the year, in the last couple of years, he's been a guy who's been riding, but I'm getting off that train with him. And I think this is like one of those games, July 4th, where a lot of runs are scored here. So I'm going to take the over 8.5, even if you get 9 here, plus 100 at 9. I think we're going to see like 12, 13 runs scored here. We're going to go with a blowout special. Milwaukee, Philadelphia Phillies here game over the posted total.
It's amazing how much Aaron Nola's fallen off, that he was the ace of the staff one time, and just now the numbers, he's just been racked. He was lucky. He had 19 runs at his disposal his last start against the Braves, even though he had a tough top of the first inning. Then Philadelphia rallied to win that game. So we'll see how the Phillies and the Brewers turn out tonight coming up in Milwaukee. All right, you've waited for it. We're going to get to the football coming up. And we'll look at game Saturday, Baylor SMU, game Sunday, Cardinals Saints to kick off week 1 of the NFL. That is all straight ahead right here on Locked On Bets. Locked On Bets continues. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. And now it's time to look ahead to the football coming up Saturday, noon Eastern kick. It is Baylor and SMU, two old Southwest Conference rivals. We'll see what they do here as members of, Baylor's still in the Big 12 and SMU moving to the ACC. But let's now look, Lee, at our first lock of the day.
Open it, open it, open it! Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
The state of Texas on full display in this game, Lee. Baylor lost at home to Auburn last Friday night. So now they'll try to bounce back as they head from Waco to Dallas to face the Mustangs of SMU. Lee, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
So Baylor lost last week, and the public loved them, thinking home underdog, they're going to get the job done against Auburn, new quarterback for Auburn. And their defense had trouble with a running quarterback. Jackson Arnold ran for 137 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, it was just one of those cases, I think, where they were so hyped up for the game, playing at home, opening weekend, and sometimes just things don't go your way. They started off that game, and I'm like, you know what? I think they might be better than Auburn, but sometimes, like I said, they went for it fourth down. Get this, 6 times. I think Dave Aranda, their head coach, panicked a little bit, and he even admitted he was maybe a little bit too aggressive. So sometimes you need that first game under your belt, and even though they lost, take a deep breath, and you're like, okay, we still have a really good team. And sometimes you see a team lose and not cover the first game, and they reel off 5 or 6 wins and covers. And Baylor might be that team. So SMU dispatched East Texas State last week, 42-13. But the score a little misleading. 2 pick sixes here. Not for those 2 pick sixes, they would have only won 28-13. Their offense, compared to last year, they lost their starting running back, had over 1,000 yards. They had a really good set of receivers, and get this, the entire receiving position has been totally changed out due to graduation. And same with their defensive line. They lost 7 of their top 8 defensive linemen, all 4 starters here. So I think there's a little bit of an overreaction to what happened to Baylor in the week 1. And people think SMU is right there. They're as good as they are. I don't think so. I think we're going to look at this game by late in the season. We're saying, how is SMU favored? I think it's a combined here. Wrong team favored and a level 1 lock. Baylor Bears outright 34-27 over SMU.
I do like the reasoning. And like we talked about earlier, people are down on Baylor after losing to Auburn. And Auburn's still a decent team. Let's not make out Auburn to be a nothing team. It wasn't an upset by any stretch. But now Baylor with the short trip going to SMU, and people had high expectations on SMU after they made it to the ACC championship last year, lost to Clemson. So we'll see how this turns out with this game coming up on Saturday. So now on Sunday, week 1 of the NFL, and the New Orleans Saints, they are definitely in rebuild mode. New head coach with Kellen Moore, and Derek Carr is now done. So we'll see what the Saints do against the Arizona Cardinals for another lock of the day.
Open it, open it, open it! Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
All right, here's a spot, Lee, for the Arizona Cardinals, not to fall in their face against the New Orleans Saints, who, again, new head coach, Kellen Moore, who was the offensive coordinator with the Eagles, of course, had that great run at Boise State. Now he's, we always kind of knew he was going to be a head coach, but the cupboard's a little bare there in New Orleans. So what do you think with the Cardinals laying the points on the road with the Saints?
So last year, the New Orleans Saints started off the season with a bang. I mean, they dispatched Carolina and Dallas and scored over 40 points in both those games, winning 47-10 and 44-19. And people are probably thinking, maybe they sneak in, maybe they, to the playoffs, maybe they at least have a 500 record. Not to be the case. Derek Carr ends up getting injured, and the whole team injuries. And, the team fell apart. So what did they do this year in the offseason? Nothing. Derek Carr retired. I think they've spun themselves backwards. I think they want to get one of these star quarterbacks. They want to get Cole Klubnik. They want to get Nussmeier or maybe Arch Manning if he rebounds. They need a quarterback bad. They're not picking up guys from other teams. They're not making trades. One of my biggest plays for my futures is the New Orleans Saints under 5.5 wins. I have them winning 2 to 3 games tops. They are that deficient, especially at the quarterback position. They have a few decent players, one good running back, Kamara. They have one good receiver, but other than that, they just can't match up against almost every team on the schedule. Arizona's under the radar. People are probably thinking, as a favorite since 2012, 9-12 against the spread. I don't want to back them straight up, but get this, 5-1 against the spread in Kyler Murray's opening game. So usually starts off the year well. He's healthy. At the end of the year, a lot of people didn't talk about this. He was one of the hottest quarterbacks, and I think he's got a really good connection with the star tight end, star receiver, and made some good acquisitions in the offseason. I think this is a great spot. One of these lines here at 6.5. If Arizona was playing at home, 3 points is given to the home team for New Orleans, and then 3 points on the other side. If it was there, the line would be like 12. Are you kidding me? 12.5. So I think you take the 6.5 points here and lay the 6.5. I think Arizona is going to win big. I got the score, something like 35-13. We're going to go level 2 lock, Arizona Cardinals over the New Orleans Saints.
There were times last year, Lee, I saw Spencer Rattler play, and I'm like, this guy's not an NFL quarterback. Like, you can't trust him. And I agree with you. The Saints are not tanking. They're just not trying. There's a difference. And I never like the term tank because it seems like you're trying to lose. But I also think they're not trying to improve themselves. They know the quarterbacks that are up there. Nussmeier from LSU, so he's close. And Arch Manning's from New Orleans originally, and we know the lineage there. So I think it's kind of like, let's just get through this season and see where it lands and then hit the reset button, because there are teams that have done that in the past. And everyone, like the Colts did with Andrew Luck, they had that one terrible season. Like, okay, let's reset this. No one cares about that Curtis Painter season.
They were also in absolute, desperation to load off contracts. So when you're way over the cap, it seems like every year going into the year, and they just front loaded a bunch of contracts this year just to get through the year. So they had to do it, but they should be fine by next year. It just takes 2 years to unload some of these bad contracts and guys that got injured. And when you pay a lot of money up front, you got to be prepared like them. And the Dolphins got to take, hit a little bit as far as the salary cap. And you got to, probably not going to be a good year for them. And I mentioned also the Dolphins, because you pay all these guys to get these free agents. Free agents rarely work out.
Yeah, and Arizona against New Orleans and Carolina the first 2 weeks. You could set yourself up nicely for a 2-0 start. And I agree with you about the Kyler Murray thing. It feels like when he's fresh at the beginning of the year, you're getting the best out of him. I know you can say about anybody, but it feels like Arizona does get off to good starts because he is healthy at that point. All right, Lee, week 2 of the college football starts Friday. There's no games Thursday. So you have Cowboys-Eagles, the showcase game. So college football will start Friday, and NFL obviously starts Thursday with a big weekend. So, Lee, what do you have going on at Paramount Sports?
Well, we usually get out of the gate real strong. Had a tough college football first weekend, but it happens. Anyone telling you they win all the time doesn't work out that way. But we usually come back after a poor first week. It's only happened twice in the last 10 years. So feel real good about the college this week. Always love the NFL. It's only 32 teams. There's not many surprises. There's not, 14, 15 new starters on half dozen teams. So we'll be ready to go. How about this? You want to get through the end of the month, through the end of September. We call it September to Remember. Normally $497. Use coupon code SAVE100. Just $397. Works out to less than $100 a week. Through the Super Bowl, just $19.97. Gets you 24 weeks. And that comes out to about $80 a week. And UFC's back. Yep. 2 weeks ago. It seems like it's been a long time, but that started at like 3 a.m. This one a little bit later than that, but it's going to be from Paris. So We like that card a lot. Look for that to come up probably later tonight. Tomorrow we'll put up that special. Baseball continues. So we're ready to go. Just one place, ParamountSports.com.
And you could find, of course, the YouTube show every day from Monday to Friday on our YouTube channel at Locked On Bets. Don't forget to like and subscribe to that. And also the podcast as well. Find it on your favorite audio platform. We appreciate your support as it continues to build here. You can find Lee on X at Paramount Sports and myself on X at Rogers Picks. And we'll be back with you coming up on Thursday. And the NFL begins on Thursday. Cowboys and the Eagles. So looking forward to that. For Lee Sterling, I am Kevin Rogers. Thank you so much for tuning into today's edition of Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.